Pencil. Oh, pencil! If, like me, you find yourself frustrated sometimes searching for pencils in your workshop, this video is for you. My strategy is to simply hide as many pencils as possible everywhere so that there's bound to be one near me at all times. The particular hiding place that I'm going to show you in this video is pretty slick, and I think there might be something similar in your workshop that you could take advantage of as well. Let's get started. My table saw has a fence which rides on this hollow rectangular tubing, and hollow space is wasted space, so let's see if we can get some pencils in there. My plan is to build 2 drawers which will fit into each end of this tube, and I'm making them out of scraps I have lying around. Before we get too far, I want to give credit where credit is due. This build is heavily inspired by Alex Fang over at Bevelish Creations, who builds some pretty awesome stuff. I'll give a link to his channel in the description below. The inside dimensions of this particular tube are 2 3/4 inches by 1 3/4. I'm going to make the drawers fit snug inside of the tube, so I started by ripping a 4-foot long offcut of 1/2 inch plywood to the exact inner height of the tube. I decided to use 2 magnets as a mechanism to hold the drawer shut when it's fully closed. I'll glue them to the bottom panel of the drawer, which will be at just the right height so that the magnets contact the inside of the tube. To accomplish this, I set my table saw fence exactly 2 magnet thicknesses away from the side of the blade, and I cut a shallow groove into the plywood. I made the groove wider by moving the fence further away and taking another pass, until the groove was just wide enough to fit a piece of 1/4 inch plywood, which I'll use for the drawer bottom. Now was also a good time to cut a 45-degree chamfer into 2 of the plywood edges. Well, almost 45 degrees. This chamfer accommodates the fact that the tube has rounded edges. I cross-cut the plywood into my 4 drawer sides at 9 inches each. Again, as a reminder, I'm building 2 drawers here. I'm using my cross-cut sled to make these cuts, and I have a separate video about how to build this sled if you're interested. I'm going to use simple butt joints for the drawer construction, which means the shorter drawer sides need to be the width of the tube minus the thickness of the sides. In this case, 1 3/4 inches. I was just setting up my crosscut sled to make these cuts when I made an unfortunate realization.
There are bolts in there. There are bolts in there.
There are bolts in there. They're about a 1/2 inch in from the side of the tube, and they stick up about 1/4 inch, which means my drawer will definitely bump into them. I figured out an easy fix for this, which I'll get to in a second. In the meantime, I cut out the other 4 drawer sides, and I dry fitted them with a squeeze clamp. I measured the dimensions of the bottom panel, which ended up being, I think, 2 inches by 8 1/4. After cutting out the bottom panels, I glued up the drawers. I don't often use butt joints, but they're more than strong enough for this application. Now to deal with that bolt. I ended up getting pretty lucky, and I was able to just cut a groove into the bottom of my drawer with a router table to make room for the bolt. However, if the bolt was just a little bit higher, the groove would have actually gone all the way through the bottom panel of the drawer, which would pretty much ruin everything. If you're building this yourself, consider making your drawer bottom panel just a little bit higher up and shimming out the magnets just a bit to dodge any bolts that you might have blocking your drawer.
Crap.
I next glued the magnets to the underside of the drawer. As you can see, using the magnets themselves to set the table saw fence earlier resulted in them being flush with the bottom of the drawer front, which is perfect. For the drawer fronts, I used some scrap zebra wood left over from my mallet build, which was 4 years ago now. Please don't judge me for my scrap hoarding habit, it's kind of a problem. To attach the drawer fronts, I used painter's tape and CA glue with accelerant. This is a neat little trick to position drawer fronts. The fronts are glued in place while the drawer is in the tube, then the outline of the drawer is traced onto the drawer front, and the glue is removed. Then, the drawer front is permanently glued on with wood glue. I used a rasp and some sandpaper to get the profile of the zebra wood to match exactly the rounded rectangular tube. You'll see why this is important in a minute. For finish, I used wipe-on polyurethane on the fancy bits and some paste wax on the cheap bits. As you can see, the magnets provide just enough resistance to hold the drawer shut without making it too difficult to open. And here you can see why rounding over the top of the zebra wood is important. If you ever need to slide the fence all the way to the end of the rails, this way it won't pop open your drawer. And there you have it. May you never be without a pencil in your workshop again. Thanks for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Have a great day, and I hope your projects are going well.